Welcome to the Meeple Syrup Aftershow. Designers discussing design. We're on episode 61. Who's got next? And we just this week had a wonderful chat with Doug and Randall, and thankfully we didn't scare Doug away because he came back for the aftershow. Randall, on the other hand, was wiser and smarter and called it a night. We're gluttons for punishment. We like.
I wanted to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, so we're excited about this. Doug is someone that I got to meet. Was it 2 or 3 years ago at Gathering?
Oh God, I don't know. Maybe
it's a bit of a blur. But
it is a bit of a blur. 3 years ago, maybe.
I think it was, and that was my first.
That was your first gathering. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So 3 years ago was when I got to meet Doug, and it was my first gathering. It was your second.
And it was my first gathering in about 10 years.
Right. That's right. You had been when it was at the old location.
Yes, in Springfield.
Springfield, but you had not been to the Niagara Falls location.
In fact, I didn't, and I never went to when it moved to Columbus.
You skipped it. You just were like, no, I am
above. Not going to Columbus.
I'm above Columbus. Columbus for me is origins or nothing.
I was really because my aunt lives in just like 20 minutes from Springfield, and it's like I can go hang out with my aunt and I can go to the gathering, and it was wonderful when that all happened, like in the late 90s, and then suddenly it's like, now we're moving to Columbus.
Well, and then it moved even darker places.
I gotta say, that's pretty dark up there.
So
well, at least the Canadians are close.
Oh, we're very happy about it. It is
I'm sure you are.
Possible for us. So thank you, Alan. We love it. Nothing negative to say there. Totally on a personal bias. It is the most convenient American location it could be. So, yes. So we first met there, and it was fun. Early on, because this was my first gathering, I'm just explaining for anyone who doesn't know this, I got to sit in, this was before Sen had even been to the gathering, and so I actually got to act as a bamboozle wingman. Yeah. And so my very first time was, my main role was hanging out with Jay, and Jay had already networked and booked a variety of pitches. And I was just tagging along as the guy who basically cleaned up, set up, smiled and nodded, kept the game
this
moving.
Is the best game I've ever played.
Anytime that I could point out, a cool, clever move or something, and just, let the publisher discover it, but play in a smart way. That was my role.
One of my favorite things at that gathering, though, was I was filming you and Michael from Hans and Gluck.
Yes, I was going to bring this up. This is awesome.
And he said about what is now called the Walled City. He said, "This game is a perfect game. It's a perfect game.
Yeah,
we don't want it."
Yeah, I was leading in. I was so excited. I'm like, this is my moment. He's like, this game, I don't know what the word.
We don't want it.
It's perfect, and I was like. And my heart and my whole body was in celebration mode, and we do not want this game. This is not. And then he proceeded to talk for a good 10-15 minutes of why it would never, ever be a Hans and Gluck game.
Well, that goes back to the last show, right? When is good enough?
Yeah. Well, or just what are people looking for, right? So,
right. Exactly.
Or as they say, William Goldman, it's luck, timing, whatever.
Yeah,
those things have to all be in alignment.
Yeah, it's kind of nebulous. Whatever.
So originally, I was going around just really as the wingman to Jay, and Doug started filming Jay, who is a very accomplished pitchman. For anyone who hasn't seen Jay, I mean, he is a perfect example of someone
who recorded a bunch. I did a bunch of his stuff with Frank from R&R.
Yeah, he's
a lot of fun. Yeah,
very fun. He always gets people really involved. And so for me, I mean, I really do attribute a lot of thanks to Jay for getting to tag along and see how he did things. I learned kind of my own styles, but also on a practical level, I booked some of my own pitches off of piggybacking of that, saying, oh, hey, if you want to see another game, I got one too. Another great moment, and I would love to get the footage from because I think you filmed it, was I showed Walt was Londonderry to Peter Eggert and Frank DiLorenzo.
Yes.
And there is one moment that I swear Frank said,
I know how to fix this game.
I know how to fix this game, but I'm not going to tell you.
I'm not going to tell you.
I don't, I know I have the hard drive hooked up to my computer.
Oh man,
I could look for it.
I recently said that to Frank, that I recall that, and he just laughed. And I said, "Do you remember what it is?" He goes, "I have no idea."
That does sound like Frank,
but it
right?
totally
sounds like Frank, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It has clearly haunted me for years, and now Frank has forgotten it and will never tell me. But I mean, there were some great moments there. So I'm curious, reflecting back, some of the stuff that hit the cutting room floor. What were some other different moments that may have been hard, but for the film you obviously had to cut it because you knew where you were going? But what was some footage that you captured that was tough to just
Daryl, this is like my 7th or 8th feature film.
Sure. It has to go.
Can I curse on here?
No, you can. This is the after show. Anything goes.
Oh, fantastic. I don't give a shit anymore. I only, and you'll recognize this from game design, I am only interested in keeping what makes
them
film the best it can be, and if it doesn't belong there, it's gone, and I don't like to bother myself with it.
That's perfect.
I do kind of regret, there's only so much room for the bonus features, and I realized that in terms of a full package, I really could only focus on the high-profile people.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure. So I'll be digging up the footage on you, 10 years from now. But, that's only, it's like I wish I could have done more, but there's only so much you can do. And so the thing that was troublesome for me, though, was one of the most, as Randall says, it's really important, the stuff about the bipolar. It's part of the fabric of the film.
Yep.
I think that sort of that for me was as important as the game design part, and also the highs and lows that a bipolar person feels. Any creative person or any human being goes through tremendous highs and lows. Yep. They just don't always have to be medicated or get counseling to be able to function in the world, but we all still have
we all
that.
feel, absolutely.
Right? So the part where Randall is in rehab, he showed me he had taken some footage on his iPad of when he was in rehab, getting the pills, and actually talking about feeling suicidal.
Mm.
And he'd shown me that footage, and as I was finishing the film, I was like, Randall, I really need that footage. That's the thing that's going to really drive home the point about how serious this is. I just really wanted it for the movie. And he was, reticent, for you can understand why. I mean, because it's so personal. It's about as personal as you can get.
Yep.
And then right as I think I had already locked picture, I was doing sound, I was doing music, and he and we basically made a deal. There was a song that I was putting in the end credits, I think it was, or a song I was using somewhere. He's like, I hate that song, I just can't stand it. So I was getting feedback from him.
Yep.
And I was like, I really like the song, it's fine with me. He's like, look, I'll give you the footage if you don't use that song. I was like, you know what?
A little coercion never hurt anybody.
Yeah,
I can totally work with that. Yeah. So it's not about what didn't make it in. It's like about the fact that for me that footage was so important.
Yep.
To talk, to really sort of ground when he's telling the story, because I had no idea he had been in a high-speed chase, and that's what got got into rehab. When people are experiencing the movie and hearing this stuff, I generally haven't heard it before, so I'm experiencing it, when I'm recording it.
Yep.
And so, anyhow, so for me, the movie really needed that footage, and I think I would have been heartbroken if Randall hadn't given me permission and sent me that footage over.
Interesting. So, you probably did you give advice to Randall at all during the game design type process part, or were you more just you should listen to those guys, you should listen to those guys, you should listen to those guys? I'm just wondering, because I've seen this stuff,
right, yeah. I felt my role in a strange way became that of Randall's agent, right? I was like,
Interesting.
Randall,
Yeah,
let's go to Origins. No, I
Right.
can't. But what's the next one? Okay, we'll go to Gen Con together. And I said, oh yeah, I've been spending 5 months deep in this industry, meeting all of these publishers and designers and people. So
Yeah.
I know Frank, I know all these people. Whatever, let's go see Frank or whoever we're going to go see.
For sure.
So I set up a lot of meetings for him.
Yes.
I think that I desperately wanted him to make changes because I just, as a friend, I wanted him to make his game better. It wasn't just for the movie, but wanted him to make his game better. But he just wouldn't, and everybody else was telling him, So I didn't need to just add to that. It was,
Totally.
he was going to do what he was going to do.
How have you found the reaction? Have you had some real positives, real negatives communicated to you, or what
About the film itself?
about the film? Yeah, and Randall or the game.
It's always dangerous to read your own reviews.
It is. I'm curious if
we know that.
you avoid it or
No, well, first, I'm an independent filmmaker, which means that I have to do a lot of stuff myself, including my own publicity,
Right.
which means that I spent a lot of time after the film contacting you guys and say I want to be on the show, or contacting all sorts of people. So I have like a nice page full of pull quotes, and they were all overwhelmingly positive.
Right.
I could probably pull some up on the computer here in a minute.
It wasn't like just it's a film.
It was like a giant fire-breathing robot. It was they would say things like, "It's a great film about game design. Anyone who wants to be a designer should see this game," or "It's much more moving than I ever thought," or "I went into it expecting one thing, but I came out having watched a movie," right? Mm-hmm. And so people were really engaged with the story, and they were from really kind of places that I really respected. So it was just really nice to get all of that feedback. So yeah, the reaction has been overwhelmingly positive. Only occasionally do people say, "Look, the main movie wasn't for me, but I loved all the bonus features," right? Because they really wanted something just about game design rather than
fair enough,
a story. But again, most people were really. I think Randall's story is really touching in the end.
It's definitely interesting. Sir Bob asks, was your original vision for the film one of an evolving first-time designer? Was that what you wanted to do?
No. The short answer is no.
And I can prove it because you started filming Jay, for instance.
I was interested in first-time designers, but I was also interested in experienced designers. I don't know how many of your audience have seen Indie Game the movie, but that's a great movie to see.
Yeah.
And they followed like 3 or 4 different designers and found a way to interweave the stories.
Yep.
And I thought that maybe at one point I would be able to do that, but again, the main thing is that when I got back from Gen Con, and I kept coming back to the footage of Randall, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to pin an entire movie on this guy. It's like 80, 90 minutes. And the main documentary feature I had done before is called 2,000 Miles to Maine, Adventures on the Appalachian Trail. And I had followed one guy, but I really took these generous tangents into meeting other hikers on the trail and following their stories and sort of doing these parallel stories, but always coming back to his as the main story. But I kind of knew as I started looking at the footage, I was like, nothing really cuts into Randall because Randall is a force of nature. He's terribly charismatic, and he's very eloquent, and there's a tremendous amount of energy. And so I kind of knew that I was going to end up focusing, a feature-length film on this one guy. I was like, that's a huge decision, right? It's like, because you're going to spend a tremendous amount of time and money and energy, and if it doesn't pan out, basically I would have been totally screwed.
Yeah. So I'm curious then, Doug, why? I mean, you already mentioned you love jumping around on topics, but how, after all this experience, can you not want to make another board game documentary? It seems like there's so many avenues you could go.
So many stories to tell.
So many, yeah. There's so many stories. I'm not even just saying.
Okay.
Short
So
Asian
I'll pitch you,
designers.
Daryl. I'm going to pitch you right now, and you guys tell me. Because I had an idea.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Ready?
You're good. I like it. Yeah. Go.
I do have a follow-up. It's called Designers Playing Games.
Yep.
And it's, it is a group of people sitting down and playing games, but they're game designers and well-known game designers. Because you don't actually get to see Reiner Knizia playing games, do you? No. You don't get to see Alan Moon playing a game. And then with another designer at the table and then two other players talking specifically about the design of that game and then game design in general. Right. That would be, if I were to do a follow-up.
I'd watch that in a heartbeat.
I'd watch it.
And the fun part about that is you could do
I got an audience of two.
You could do a variety of those settings and weave them together. Even like maybe your non-designers are the people that keep showing up at each table.
Well, no, it would be a series. It would be a series. It would be something where I would do 5 to 10 episodes a year or something like that.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 100% of board game design show hosts would watch.
There you go.
Exactly.
That's the feedback so far you've gotten.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, I had that idea. I've reached out to a couple people, but I haven't really reached out to the people who I would need to help make such a thing. Yeah. So I have to decide. If
you need a shooting location,
Snakes and Lattes.
Well, Snakes and Lattes always we're friends with and we love, but they are sponsors for an upcoming winter retreat / event, the Meeple Syrup Winter Camp.
Oh yeah. Are you comping me into that, Daryl?
Well, so I'm just saying, if in the future you want to do some filming sessions and start filming that, maybe that's part of the story is that you're filming this secret gathering.
The secret gathering. No, it would be, it's a huge, I don't kid about it, it's a huge project, and it requires a production team, and it requires Kickstarter money, and all of this is quite possible and doable.
Very, especially with the contacts you've gained from this experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, hey, let us pitch you.
Oh, go ahead. Is it a game? Oh, it's a movie.
A movie.
Or nice. Let's do a few. Let's do a few. So, Sen, you pitch one first.
Well, pitch.
Okay, so Daryl and I want to do this road trip across North America.
Dude! Oh, if we got Doug?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So we want to do a road trip across America. This is serious, where we pick up other game designers along the way in our RV, and we design a game on the road, in the RV, play test it, and we end up driving to the front door of a publisher and pitching them the game that we designed.
The only thing I need from you then
is what?
Enough of those to make it worth my while.
You know what? Better than that. We'll not only have money, we'll fundraise it ourselves.
I don't, whatever. I am more than game for something like that.
No. If you're serious, because we're legitimately talking about doing this as our next Kickstarter. We did a Kickstarter. It funded our show, and we did a variety of things because of generous donations. And we've been asking our viewers, and this is something that is bubbled out of our conversations with the reviewers, with designers, with publishers. Publishers love this idea that they'll actually be shown in their environments. Designers love this idea because they're going to be shown in their environments.
And you guys would want me to do my thing as a filmmaker,
so that
right?
you do your filmmaking while we just do us.
Yeah, because originally what we were going to do is try to live stream everything from the vehicle.
Yeah,
and
but you want to actually have something. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It'd be horrible.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be horrible, but it would be really hard.
Very low quality. It would be long and enduring to try to pick up storylines, but if done properly by a filmmaker instead of just us letting people voyeur in,
right?
It would be actually a product that has value.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it would be fun.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to ask you another question. This is not a pitch.
Yeah.
This is just a question. Analogies between filmmaking and game making.
That was what I was going to pitch. That's hilarious.
All right. Well, one of the reasons I was interested in doing the film in the first place was because it is about the creative process.
Yeah.
Right. And so the analogy was that I already suspected existed and that's why, I really, I thought I couldn't figure out how to make this, whatever this movie was going to be. I just always was coming back to the players, like players, and I love players, but they're not a movie. There's no movie in players.
No.
At least not to me. Daryl's like, no, there's just not.
There's not.
No, there's not. And so
there might be at like high level Magic.
High level.
Right, I was going to say, yeah, if you were looking at high level tournament play of
like
some sort.
Twitch stars.
Yeah. And so for me anyway, there wasn't a movie in the players. And so the key was the designers, and it was because of that parallel, I think, with filmmaking and the creative process. It was just another way to explore the creative process.
I got another pitch though, and you did kind of bring it up. What about cafes? This phenomenon of board game cafes. Does it work? Yeah. Does it, how does it?
First of all, we know they work, and I think it's fantastic. I also think that that's something for television, like a news segment or something. They love the idea. They're like, oh, we can do a human interest story or something on a cafe. Well, there is not inherently a story there.
What about, this is where I actually want to challenge. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Snakes and Lattes.
They have a TV show.
Has a sitcom. 6 episodes.
Yes, I saw a few minutes.
Did you? Only a few minutes? You didn't watch the rest?
That was enough. I was good.
If you look in episode 6, you'll see a little bit of my head.
Yeah. No, then I went over to The Man in the High Castle over on Amazon.
Oh.
So no, I don't know. Again, a sitcom. Yeah, a sitcom can be based anywhere, and they're often based in places where people eat and drink, and yeah, that's fine. I just saw a few minutes. I have no idea.
That's fair. It's tough to ask directors about other movies.
Oh, ask me about real movies.
Oh, but what about escape rooms?
Oh, there's another interesting.
Oh, I've never done one. I see the advertisements. I know my son would be so into that.
Yeah, you should definitely try one.
Really, they have one right nearby.
Yeah, definitely try. No. And actually, there's a variety of experiences that they're trying to
they're also they're ultimately puzzles, right?
Because
I'm not a big puzzle guy.
There's different arguments. Some are designed to be puzzle-like. Some are not designed to be puzzle-like.
Some are more experiences.
Yeah.
But what you do is you do one, and then if you're interested in doing a movie, contact Scott Nicholson.
Yeah. No,
for real.
He's done
about escape rooms.
Well, because he's done an extensive multi-year study of them.
Really?
Yeah. Internationally.
The world, because there's these different experiences that are happening. Some called adventure rooms, some called escape rooms, some puzzle rooms, and they're all blurring the lines now of what are people trying to capture and experience. Cool. So,
well, yeah, it's an interesting. You guys, I don't know if you ever suffer from like, okay, what's my next project? You must, right?
Yes,
because I'm always like,
for sure.
For filmmaking with game design, you do put you put a lot of energy into it, and you can just put it on the shelf. But at a certain point with film, you're committing yourself to like 2 years.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what's gonna be my thing for the next 2 years? And that's a.
So you're saying you need a break from gamers. I get it.
No, not that I need a break from gamers. It's just that people come up to me sometimes and they say like, why don't you do a film, like my cousin said, why don't you do a film about robotics? Because I'm working with the robotics thing and it's great. I'm like, dude, that's your movie, right?
Yeah.
I'll figure out what my movie is, whatever my next movie is. But so that's why I do love the idea of the van trip and doing that. And if that actually came to fruition, that would be really cool. But
don't be surprised.
Again, yeah.
It could very well come to fruition. You never know. Doug, we've got to go. I have an exam to write.
Mm-hmm.
So
just use last year's.
I don't do that.
He didn't have it last year.
I also adopted the course, and I don't like the exam from last year.
Oh, which class? What is it? A game design class or?
No, it's special education. Yeah, it's like.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see you later, Doug. Love to talk to you. It was awesome seeing you. Like I haven't seen you in like years, so.
I will see you at the gathering this year for sure, and I will see Daryl very soon at BGG.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we'll take the movie around to like Origins and Gen Con, and I'm hoping we can try to get a screening or something at PAX East, but we'll see.
Oh, that'd be fun, yeah.
Well, you need to do one in Toronto.
Where? Oh, Snakes and Lattes.
There you go.
Or
should do
at Fan
screening
Expo
there.
or something. Yeah, yeah.
Or
Should do screening
TIFF.
there.
Come to the Toronto Film Festival.
Yeah. It's I hear it's a pretty big festival.
I've heard it's well regarded in some circles.
Yeah, just in some.
Just in some. That's a
Torontonians.
totally distribution film festivals is a completely different discussion.
Yeah. Well, save that one for the next
Yeah.
the next hangout.
No, I would not have that discussion on air.
Fair enough. On that note, we couldn't end any better than that. So thanks, Doug. Have a great night. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.